Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar presented by ARQ Risk and Compliance. And today's webinar will be displaying the accuracy and efficiency that you can achieve when you leverage XML reporting for your suspicious transaction and activity reports. My name is Billy J. Smith. I'm the AML Technology Specialist here at ARQ, and I will be taking you through this short webinar today. With that said, let's get started.
The first place that we will be starting off in is the FIAU Go AML portal, which can be accessed online, and currently I'm using the test environment because I don't want to be uploading random information to the FIAU to be reviewed. So while we're here, I just thought I would highlight something that I identified in one of the guidance notes provided by the FIAU. Now, while they did later come back during a training session and say that this is not required for every single subject person, this is heavily important when it comes to the efficiency of reports and reporting timelines, because if you have many transactions to be reported and you're going to be inputting all of the transaction information individually, you're not going to be achieving the timeliness that you need to achieve if you have a high volume of transactions and possibly a high number of reports that you have to do within your reporting time frame. So the first thing that I'm going to do is give you a quick run through of a very basic, and I mean the most basic possible web report by manually inputting the information, and then we'll go through some XML report creations, which I will be doing using a Python script which I've written just to run on my PC, but this functionality can be coded into any back office or player management platform. So I just open the Excel file that I created with some dummy data. It's just random fake information on what is stated in the headers there as employees, as this was the Excel file that I found, and it fits the purpose easily for what we're doing here today. But these will be the customers that we'll be reporting. So as you can see, across the top we have the information regarding each individual customer. You have the first name, last name, email, phone number, street address, city of address, state, and then the zip code, as well as what's referred to here as transaction reference, but we'll be using that as the account number or customer number in this example. Now we'll go into the web reporting section, and just for the ease and the speed of the video, I'm going to do a suspicious activity report so that I don't have to go through inputting multiple transactions, just not to waste time on this video. However, with just this activity report, we can easily identify the lack of efficiency that this reporting method has, and so when you will go in to fill out your report, you'll have a number of required fields, which are the ones here marked in red, and you will not be able to submit the overall report until you have filled out these fields. This is all very straightforward, and you probably all recognize this portal quite intimately. So in this case, we'll say the customer refusing to provide CDD documentation is the reason for the suspicious activity report. As you know, a suspicious activity report is when you have suspicions raised about your clients or customers. However, there is no transactional activity linked to the suspicion. So for the ease and accuracy of the reporting, I'm going to say that the customer refused to provide documentation following the identification of potential adverse media. Now, I say potential because if they refuse to provide documentation, we cannot confirm or deny the link to the adverse media. In here, you'd be able to upload any attachments which include things such as the ID, proof of address of the customer if they have provided such documentation. You will also be providing gaming transaction, login history, and any other added information which might be provided in an Excel file. This could also include screenshots of customer profile background research, whichever is deemed to be relevant to the report, you will attach in the attachment section here. Next, you will go into our report indicators. These are all very specific prescribed indicators that are updated continuously by the FIAU, and I would just be looking for the non-submission of due diligence documentation. We also have the links to adverse media here, and I know there is always the uncooperative customer option. However, there was previously an indicator specifically surrounding not providing the correct documentation or refusing to provide documentation. And with all reports to the FIAU, you always need to put a predicate offence indicator, and in this case we use PO2 because we cannot confirm if the customer has actually been convicted of a predicate offence or is suspected of a predicate offence. In this case, it seems the CDD documentation indicator has been removed in the latest update, so I will use the uncooperative customer, which encompasses previous mentioned indicators. Now we get into the stringent requirements of customer information, account and transaction information, and however your report will look will depend on what activity you are trying to report from your end. Now again, you have all of your required fields here. So first thing you need to input is required fields here, significance and reason. As this is not a real report of activity, I'm just going to put some information in here to satisfy the requirement that there is information in the field. So for reason here, I'll just write gaming account to satisfy this field. And as this report is going to be for John Doe, says the transaction reference there, but we'll call it the account number. So we'll go back to the report and we'll be putting the account number in here. Obviously full name is required and the customer's full name in this case is John Doe. Account type would be gaming account. Again, I wrote that in reason above, but it's just to satisfy the requirement to show the time it would take to manually input information into all of these fields, as that is essentially why we're here. The current state of the account is closed, and as I said in action previously, the account has been suspended. The currency of the account is in euros. Client number will be the same as the account number, which in this case for this demo is 1. And we'll say this account was opened on 1st of January 2021. Here you can have an institution code or SWIFT. In this case we would just put this in for the SWIFT code, and then you also need to specify the balance remaining on the account. With this completed, we have a bare minimum report that the FIAU Go AML portal will allow you to submit. And as you can see, with everything green, it will let me save and submit my report. So once a report has been compiled and saved into your Go AML, you will find it in the drafted reports section. I have previously drafted reports in my list from yesterday. I'll delete that one. And from here you can actually view the drafted report and it will show you the contents of the report. And for any previously submitted web reports on Go AML, you can download the report in XML format. And then when we download the report, once it downloads, I will need to open Visual Studio Code, which is an application for viewing code correctly, such as XML. This is how an XML file will look in a readable format when formatted in the correct way, and it gives you the structure and hierarchy of the report and the relevant fields inside the report. Everything that we've just input, plus the extra already pre-filled information, such as our current location, this has all been automatically filled into the XML from the web report, which I have then been able to extract from the Go AML portal here. Little side note here, to get the XML from the original format to look how it looks now, you need an extension to Visual Studio Code, which is designed to format XML files. Now you can see if I paste all of this text into the report validator, it will tell me that the report is following the schema. So essentially what we want to do now is reach the same conclusion of uploading the report into our validator, and this is going to get validated correctly. And to do that, we're going to use the Python script that I mentioned earlier. So I have a few test reports that I generated earlier, which I'll delete. And now we're going to open the command line. You cannot run Python code on a Windows PC like a normal executable file. From the standard directory in command line, I need to copy the address of my folder and navigate to it in command line. I'll navigate to the folder where the files are. Now to the next subfolder so I can access the test script I wrote for this webinar. Tell my computer to run the script. Once this runs, I close command line, and in that moment the script did everything it needed to do in the background. I'll just go back into the Excel file with the player data. As you can see here, we have individual rows for customer information, and now we have all the relevant reports, which we'll just go through quickly. You can see the first report in the name of John Doe. Second report is the second row, which is Jane Doe. Third report shows as Jim Smith. And just so we don't go through all 10 reports, we'll check the last one to confirm that this one is in fact a report for Julia Anderson. And we see that it is in fact her. And with that, we can see now that in a fraction of the time it takes to input one simple web report onto the portal, you can generate a mass number of reports if you have the right infrastructure in place. And we can see now that if we take the text for Julia Anderson's generated report, it's going to show that it has been validated successfully. Now you have your completed XML file. If you don't have any other attachments or anything else that needs to be uploaded, it's just a simple drag and drop. And once it's uploaded, that will be processed automatically by the system, and it will be seen on the side of the FIAU exactly the same as it would have been seen if we'd uploaded it manually, what we saw on the screen earlier. Now you can see the report has been accepted by the portal. And even in the case if you have a large number of XML files and they're all linked to a similar issue that you need to report, you don't have to upload each report file individually. You can zip everything into a zip folder, and as you can see on the portal, it will allow XML reports or zip folders, and then we can drag and drop the entire folder and it will accept it with no issues. And if we navigate to the uploaded report section, we can see that the whole zip file has been received and uploaded onto the portal.
So with that, we will be closing off the practical section of this webinar, and I would like to thank you for your attention in the time that you've been here listening to me. Now, some of you may be very familiar with the system that I've just shown you, and some of you may have never seen it before. Either way, it is there and it is available, and we are here to help if there's ever anything you need to help implement these schemas into your daily transaction monitoring reports. Thank you very much, and I wish you all a lovely day.